Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of Cyber Sins, the weekly true crime podcast where we talk about interesting stories in the world of cybercrime. I'm your host, Tim Bowman, and this week I'd like to talk about something called vishing. This is a phone based social engineering attack that's similar to phishing, hence the name. So let's look at the scenario and see what we can learn about this style of attack. Here we go. So, an elderly woman named Rose is sitting at home in Tulsa one day when she receives a call. She picks up the phone and it's her grandson Tim, who lives in Los Angeles. Tim says that he is stranded in Las Vegas and he needs her to send him several $100s. Rose tells Tim that she doesn't have the money. Tim insists, but so does she. Eventually, Tim hangs up and Rose calls Tim's mother. Once Tim's mother hears Rose's story, she calls her son. Tim picks up the phone and his mother asks him where she is. Tim sounds totally normal and he says that he is in Los Angeles. Now his mother presses, asking him repeatedly if he's in Las Vegas and if he has just asked his grandmother to send him money. This goes on for a couple minutes, and Tim just gets more and more confused. Finally, he asks his mother what she is talking about, and it's just then that she and him realize what is going on. Someone has called Tim's grandmother and pretended to be him, asking for money. Now, this is a classic example of what's called a vishing attack. Obviously, as the name suggests, this is similar to a phishing attack, but instead of using emails, attackers use the phone and call their victims directly. And they often pretend to be a family member in distress or someone else that the victim knows. Now, what's so disturbing about this particular instance is everything that the attackers were able to find out about Rose. They knew she had a grandson named Tim, and they likely knew that he didn't live in Tulsa, because they called her saying that he was in Las Vegas. Now, according to privacy.com, 1 in 5 Americans have fallen victim to some kind of similar phone-based scam. These attacks can be especially effective against the elderly because they are generally less informed on issues such as cybercrime. The attacks are also becoming harder to detect due to the rising use of AI, which makes it easier for criminals to sound like a victim's family member. So, how do we defend ourselves against these attacks? Well, honestly, when this happened to my grandmother, she did exactly what she was supposed to do, and she didn't even know it. She told the attacker that she didn't have the money, and then she called my mother so she could call me to verify the story. Now, that's exactly how to handle a situation like this. So, really, the best way to protect yourself from something like this is to be informed and always be on the lookout for anything that sounds suspicious. Well, that's about it for today. If you enjoyed the show, please like and subscribe, and until next time, make sure to be on the lookout for the old vishing scam. All right, we'll see you later.